a truth hidden not in the noise, but in the silence. Imschloss. Let me tell you something it took me years to truly understand. Silence isn't weakness, it's strength dressed in humility. In a world obsessed with noise, applause, and constant validation, the person who learns to remain silent is often the one who has already won half the battle. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't need to fight every fight or respond to every critic. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing and keep moving forward. There is a special kind of quiet confidence that shows up when your worth no longer depends on what others think of you. When you know exactly who you are, there's no urge to prove anything. You stop explaining yourself. You stop defending every step you take. You stop chasing approval because you're walking in assurance. You're not silent because you're scared. You're silent because your focus is too sacred to be wasted on meaningless noise. Not every voice deserves a reply. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. Some arguments are just distractions in disguise, traps to derail your purpose and delay your growth. I used to believe that staying silent made me appear weak, that if I didn't speak up or correct every misconception, I was surrendering my power. But now I know it takes more strength to keep your peace than to engage in every battle. The strong don't need to speak to be heard. Their life, their consistency, their peace, it all speaks for them. Silence isn't just an action, it's a posture of trust. It's you saying, God, I trust you to handle what I can't. I trust you to defend me where words fall short. Sometimes the reason your breakthrough seems delayed is because you're still trying to fight battles that aren't even yours to fight. You're still using your words to control outcomes, when what you need is surrender. God doesn't need your defense, he needs your faith. When Jesus stood before his accusers, he didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't even justify himself. He stood still. Because truth doesn't need to be shouted, it just needs to stand. That moment wasn't weakness. It was power under control. It was quiet authority. In your life, there will be moments when you're misunderstood, misjudged, underestimated. And you know what? Let them. Your silence in those moments is not weakness. It's proof that you are grounded, secure, and unshaken. People who shout the loudest are usually the ones trying to find something they're still missing. Validation, relevance, approval. But when you know your purpose, you stop chasing acknowledgement. You let your fruit speak. You let your progress make the noise. The tree doesn't explain how tall it's growing. It just grows. And one day, the same people who ignored the seed will have to notice the fruit. Silence isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about mastering yourself. You must grow to a place where your peace is untouchable, where other people's moods don't steal your joy. When people's opinions no longer interrupt your progress, that's maturity. Because listen, when the enemy can't destroy you, he'll try to distract you. He'll send confusion, pointless debates, meaningless offenses, all designed to pull you out of alignment. But if you stay silent, hold your focus, and refuse to play that game, you win, every single time. Don't waste your voice proving what God has already declared over your life. Let them think what they want. Let them talk. You just keep showing up, keep building, keep growing in silence, because your breakthrough will always speak louder than your defense ever could. Stay grounded, stay focused, stay silent, and watch what happens. So now you know, some of the most powerful moments in life happen in silence. But what if I told you that true transformation doesn't begin in the spotlight, but in the shadows? There is a kind of growth that only takes root in the quiet, in the places far away from the noise, the applause, and the pressure to constantly perform. We live in a world that tells us we have to be visible to matter, that we have to be loud to be relevant. But real transformation, deep, lasting change, begins where no one is watching. Not on the stage, not in the spotlight, but in the still corners of your soul where only you and God reside. Some of the most powerful seasons of your life will feel incredibly lonely, not because you are unloved, but because you are being set apart. And that separation, it's not rejection, it's preparation. You are not being abandoned. You are being processed. God often isolates before he elevates. He pulls you away, not to punish you, but to show you who you are without the distractions. He wants to reveal the version of you that doesn't rely on applause, approval, or attention. A version of you that is whole, even in silence. And real growth, it demands stillness. It requires discipline. And yes, sometimes it asks you to walk alone. Think about the seed. It doesn't grow in the light first. It has to go underground. It has to be hidden, buried, unseen. It must break in the dark before it ever rises in the light. There's no celebration in that hidden phase. No one claps for the seed while it's buried. There's no audience, no recognition, just darkness. But that breaking is necessary. That loneliness is not abandonment. It's divine development. In your life, there will be seasons where it feels like everything is quiet, like your prayers are echoing, like you've been forgotten. But you haven't. You're just underground, growing roots. God is preparing you, strengthening the parts no one sees before he ever allows you to rise. People might not understand what you're doing. They may say you've changed, that you're distant, cold, different, and that's okay. Let them think what they want. You're not here to explain your process. You're here to protect it. Because when you're building something real inside of you, there's no room to be everywhere, pleasing everyone. When you're committed to your purpose, distractions no longer feel like options. You're not available for every invite, every opinion, every expectation, because you're in a season of becoming. These quiet seasons, where it feels like nothing's moving, are where God is doing his deepest work. He's pruning your heart, healing your pain, building your character, and while you may not see the results yet, you'll feel them later. When you walk into rooms without needing to be noticed, when you no longer chase attention just to feel valuable, when you stop craving love from people who only took from you, that's when you'll know this is the fruit of private growth. That is the power of silence. But don't get it twisted. Just because you're in a quiet season doesn't mean you're standing still. There's a quiet momentum building, and soon it will all make sense. You've come to understand that silence is where strength is built. But now let's go deeper into the kind of peace that doesn't come from the outside, but is grown from within. When you shift your focus inward, on your own growth, your purpose, your unique journey, something begins to change. You become so deeply invested in what's blooming inside of you that comparison fades into the background. What others are doing, what they have, what they think. Suddenly, none of it holds weight. Your peace isn't found in keeping up with them. It's found in knowing that you're walking in what you were called to do. And there is a profound, unwavering strength in that realization. Because when peace comes from within, when you've taken the time to cultivate it in your own soul, no one can steal it from you. Life will still come at you. Disappointments, losses, rejection, frustration. But if your peace was built from the inside out, none of it can shake you. The storm may rage all around you, but inside, you're calm, grounded. That's the kind of peace this world desperately needs. A peace not rooted in fleeting comfort or approval, but one anchored in identity and faith. A peace that flows from God, not from people, not from achievements, not from perfect circumstances. And the beauty of this peace, you'll see its fruit in clarity, in confidence, in joy, in your ability to stand firm no matter what tries to come against you. And here's what's even more beautiful. When you nurture that inner peace, everything around you begins to align. Relationships shift, situations calm, even challenges begin to lose their power over you. Why? Because peace carries its own kind of energy. It sets the tone. When you're at peace within, you no longer attract chaos. You stop entertaining drama. You stop tolerating toxicity. You no longer chase things that once drained you. Instead, you begin to draw in what was always meant for you. Healthy relationships, aligned opportunities, real blessings. The energy you pour into your inner world begins to reflect in your outer world. So then, why do we still chase external validation? Why do we continue searching for peace in people, in possessions, in temporary highs? It's because we've been conditioned to believe that worth must be earned and that peace comes from performance. But the truth is, peace is a choice and a process. And once you realize that, you begin to reclaim your power. You stop waiting for someone else to approve your worth. You stop letting life's unpredictability determine your joy. You make a decision. My peace comes from within, and that's where your true power begins. The world will always demand your attention. It will try to shake you, distract you, confuse you. It will whisper, "You're not enough." But in those moments, you must remember, peace is your decision. You get to choose whether to be swept away by the noise or anchored in the stillness. And when you choose peace, when you make it non-negotiable, everything shifts. No one can disturb what you've chosen to protect. So keep working on yourself. Keep showing up for yourself. Let your inner peace reflect your strength, your growth, your faith. And as you do, you'll be amazed at how the pieces start falling into place. Because in a world that's constantly moving, there is something incredibly powerful about learning to be still. While others rush, hustle, and compete, you're learning to sit in the silence. You're discovering that progress doesn't always look like action. Sometimes it looks like patience, like waiting, like trusting when everything around you says panic. In those quiet, unseen moments, God is doing his deepest work in you, a work that doesn't need applause, a transformation that doesn't need to be seen to be real. And no matter how uncomfortable it feels, you can't rush this part. Because while the world pushes you to speed up, God often invites you to slow down, to rest, to be still, and know that he is God. In the stillness, strength is built. In the silence, clarity comes. In the waiting, direction is revealed. Sometimes the loudest move you can make is making none at all. When we hurry through life, we miss the hidden lessons, the sacred moments, the divine whispers waiting in the stillness. But if you dare to stay, if you dare to be silent, you'll start to hear what you couldn't in the noise. The voice of God, the truth of your own heart, the call of your purpose. And you'll begin to see that your value was never tied to how loud you were, but to the strength of your spirit, to the depth of your peace, to the quiet confidence of knowing who walks with you. In the silence, wisdom is revealed. In the stillness, you grow deeper roots. You stop chasing temporary things and start aligning with what's eternal. You realize the life you were trying to build in your own strength was never meant to be built alone. It was always meant to be built with God. And it's only when you stop striving and start surrendering that his greater plan unfolds. So stop rushing. Stop comparing. Stop believing that you're behind. Focus inward. Protect your process. Stay silent. Let God do his work, especially when it feels like nothing is happening. Because in the quiet, he's building something beautiful. And when the time is right, you'll see it. You'll feel it. You'll live it. And you'll know it was all worth it. So if you take anything from this message, let it be this. You don't have to be loud to be strong. You don't have to be seen to be valuable. And you don't have to rush to prove you're growing. Growth takes time. Healing takes silence. Purpose takes patience. And peace? Peace is the prize that comes when you finally learn to let go of noise and hold on to truth. The truth that your identity is not up for debate. The truth that your path is your own. The truth that when you let God work in the quiet, the results will echo louder than anything you could have forced in the noise. So, stay grounded, stay focused, stay silent until your life speaks for itself. Because in the end, it won't be your words that convince the world. It'll be your peace, your purpose, and your fruit. Thank you for watching. If this message touched something in you, share it. And remember, sometimes the strongest sound you can make is silence. If this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below and share what part resonated most with you, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a moment of encouragement, truth, and purpose. Because this journey we're on, it's better when we walk it together. So until next time, stay grounded, stay faithful, and keep growing quietly.
By now, you've learned that silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You've tasted the kind of stillness that doesn't shrink you, but strengthens you. But now let me take you deeper into a revelation that could change the way you walk through every single season of your life. Silence isn't just protection, it's preparation. It's not just a break from the noise, it's a bridge into purpose. In a world that celebrates noise, noise becomes addictive. We're trained to prove ourselves, to defend every decision, to validate our worth through words. But those who walk in quiet authority don't need to prove anything. They already know who they are, and more importantly, whose they are. Silence is a sacred place, a holy ground where transformation takes root, not in applause, not in the spotlight, but in solitude, in surrender, in that holy hush where God whispers purpose into your soul. True strength isn't loud. It's rooted. It's the ability to keep walking when no one's watching, to keep growing when no one's applauding, to keep believing when nothing around you looks like it's working. You don't have to correct every lie spoken about you. You don't need to reply to every critic. Let your progress do the talking. Let your consistency answer questions. Let your peace be the proof. Because listen, fruit doesn't shout. It just grows. And when the season is right, those who once overlooked your seed will have no choice but to notice your harvest. Silence doesn't mean you're stuck. It means you're stable. It means you're not wasting energy on things that don't matter. It means you've grown strong enough to choose where your attention goes. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Because some of the loudest people in the room are still searching for what you already carry. Clarity, confidence, and a calling. You've stopped chasing attention because you've already caught alignment. You're not available for every opinion because you're committed to your mission. You don't have time for noise because your purpose is too sacred. And this season you're in, the quiet one? It's not punishment, it's preparation. God isolates before he elevates. He hides you, not to hurt you, but to heal you, to build a foundation so deep that nothing and no one can shake it later. Think about it. The seed must break before it grows. It must go underground before it rises. It must be unseen before it's undeniable. The same is true with you. You may not see the results yet, but trust me, there is a quiet momentum building beneath the surface. And when it breaks through, it will make more noise than any argument ever could. Cool. So what should you do in the meantime? Stay faithful, stay rooted, stay focused, and above all, stay silent. Not because you have nothing to say, but because your life is about to speak for you. You don't need to announce what God is doing. Just align with it. Obey quietly, grow privately, and then let the fruit speak loudly. If this message stirred something inside of you, if it reminded you that your silence is not wasted, that your process is not in vain, then let's walk this journey together. Don't walk it alone. Join a community of purpose-driven souls learning to grow in grace, move in silence, and thrive in truth. Like this message, comment below and share the part that resonated most with you. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of encouragement, truth, and divine clarity. We're not just building followers, we're building faith-filled, focused lives, one quiet breakthrough at a time. So, stay grounded, stay faithful, stay silent. Let the world keep running in circles if it wants. You're walking with purpose, one quiet, powerful step at a time. Because when the time is right, your peace will speak, your fruit will show, and your silence will echo louder than any shout ever could. Thank you for being here. If you're still reading this, it means something in you is ready to grow, ready to let go, ready to rise. So stay with us. There's more to come, much more. Subscribe now, and let's keep growing quietly, purposefully, and powerfully together. Your silence is not weakness, it's power in disguise. So stay rooted, stay focused, stay silent, and let your life speak volumes. Because in a world screaming for attention, your peace is your protest, your purpose is your response, and your quiet consistency, that's your revolution. If this message lit something in your spirit, don't let it stop here. Like this video to spread the light. Drop a comment to share what resonated with you. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, because this journey of faith, growth, and silent strength is just getting started. Together, we're building more than content. We're building courage. So keep showing up, keep believing, keep becoming. The world may not hear your silence, but it will feel your impact. Thank you for watching. If this message whispered truth into your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button to support this space of growth. Comment below and tell us what part resonated with your heart. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of stillness, purpose, and peace. Because this isn't just a video. It's a movement of hearts learning to grow deeper, stronger, and quieter together. Until next time, Stay grounded. Stay faithful and keep growing. Your next breakthrough may not be loud, but it will be undeniable. You've come this far, not by chance, but by courage. Not because life has been gentle with you, but because you refused to quit when things went quiet. You've endured moments where you questioned your progress, your prayers, even your purpose. But the truth is, your greatest growth didn't come through noise. It came through faith in the silence. The stillness you've chosen to embrace, it's not empty, it's full of lessons, full of clarity, full of the whispers of heaven that could never be heard in the crowd. The world may not understand the season you're in, but that's okay. It wasn't designed for them to understand. Because God is writing a story through you that can't be explained. It has to be witnessed. This isn't a delay. This is development. This isn't rejection. It's redirection. This isn't failure. It's foundation. You've stepped into a sacred space, a quiet place, where what matters most is being shaped. Your heart, your character, your capacity to carry purpose with humility. And here's the part most people miss. Silence is not the absence of movement. It's the beginning of alignment. You've grown, not on stages, but in stillness, not under lights, but under pressure. And every step you've taken in the dark has prepared you for the moment the light will find you. You've learned how to smile without validation, to pray without evidence, to move without applause. That's not weakness. That's warrior training. That's heaven's preparation for a life of unshakable influence. You don't just want to look like you're thriving, you want to truly live with peace. You don't want noise, you want truth. You don't want performance, you want purpose. And that shift in you, that decision to grow in silence instead of chase in chaos, that's what separates the imitators from the called. So here's the truth, one that changes everything. You are no longer bound to hustle. You are no longer enslaved to performance. You are free. Free to heal slowly. Free to grow deeply. Free to follow the pace of purpose, not pressure. And the world might not clap for your discipline. They may not understand your quiet rebuilding, but one day they will witness your resurrection. And it will be clear, the silence didn't stop you, it saved you. So what now? Now you rise. Not loudly, not recklessly, but intentionally, quietly, divinely. Because your steps are ordered, your process is protected, and your purpose is undeniable. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your silence, because what's forming inside of you will speak louder than anything you could ever say. Your consistency will reveal it. Your peace will confirm it. Your fruit will prove it. Let this be your declaration. I no longer seek validation from the noise. I no longer rush into what God has already aligned. I no longer explain what I'm still building. I move in obedience. I grow in stillness. I walk in power even when I whisper. That's your glow up. That's your healing. That's your power. Not because you shouted, but because you stood still. Not because you performed, but because you trusted the process. And not because you were seen, but because you believed when no one was watching. So if this message stirred your soul, let it move you into action. Not rushed action, not reactive action, but purposeful, aligned, peace-filled action. Subscribe to this channel right now, not just to watch, but to grow. To grow in faith, in wisdom, in quiet resilience. Tap that like button if something in this message felt like truth. Drop a comment to share what part helped you breathe a little deeper. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss another moment like this, a moment where the noise fades and purpose speaks. Because this channel isn't about building hype. It's about building hearts. Strong ones, quiet ones, unshakable ones. Final words, and let them echo. You don't need to be loud to lead. You don't need to be seen to be significant. You don't need to rush to be relevant. You just need to be faithful to what's growing in you, to who is guiding you, to the process that's preparing you for more than you've imagined. Your silence is not weakness. It's evidence that you trust something higher. It's the sound of confidence, of surrender, of strength under control. And when your season shifts, the world won't ask what happened. They'll ask how, because your life will say what your words never could. Thank you for watching. If this message whispered truth into your spirit, don't just keep it in your heart. Carry it into your life. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's keep growing together. Not in chaos, but in calling, not in pressure, but in purpose, not in noise, but in knowing. Until next time, stay grounded, stay faithful, and keep growing quietly, courageously, and eternally.
Have you noticed how with age, the things that once felt urgent now feel unnecessary? Why is it that as the years go by, we stop craving noise and start seeking peace? Let me take you into a truth few people have the courage to say aloud. Sometimes, the most dangerous people in your later years are the ones you've known the longest. As we grow older, something subtle, but incredibly profound begins to happen. The loud, the fast, the chaotic start to lose their appeal. We begin to crave peace instead of performance, clarity instead of confusion, and truth instead of tradition. And for many, that awakening comes with a hard realization. Some of the people who drain you the most in your later years are the ones who share your last name. Let's talk about one of the most toxic types of people you must learn to avoid as you get older: the guilt tripper. And please, hear this not just with your ears, but with your heart. Because this kind of manipulation doesn't always come with shouting or obvious control. No, guilt often comes disguised as concern. It looks like love. It sounds like care. It wears the face of family. But make no mistake, when guilt is used to manipulate, it's not love. It's poison. Guilt trippers don't raise their voices. They don't confront you head on. Instead, they use sighs, silences, and subtle phrases to make you question your worth and your boundaries. You say no once, and suddenly you're painted as selfish. You ask for space, and now you're uncaring. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your golden years apologizing for simply existing. They'll guilt you for aging, for resting, for needing space. You'll hear phrases like, well, I guess I'll just figure it out on my own since you're too busy. I took care of you once, now look at how you treat me. But let me tell you this with all the love in my heart. Your life is not a debt to be paid. Not to your children, not to your siblings, not to your friends. You don't owe anyone your health, your time, or the little energy you still have left. You've spent decades showing up for others. Now it's time to show up for you, because guilt trippers are professional time thieves. They don't just steal your hours, they steal your peace. They pull you into conversations you didn't ask for, expectations you never agreed to, and emotional chaos you can no longer afford. You may hear things like, if you really loved me, you'd do this. But listen carefully. Love is not measured by exhaustion. You don't prove love by abandoning yourself. You prove love by living truthfully with boundaries and clarity. And guilt trippers, they'll twist your reality until you start asking yourself, am I the selfish one? That's how they win, by making you question your sanity. But real freedom begins the moment you recognize emotional guilt for what it truly is, a form of control. In your later years, you don't have time to be controlled. You need time to breathe, to reflect, to heal, to live. You've already carried more than your share, through heartbreaks, sacrifices, silent nights, and all the times you gave when no one noticed. Now, you've earned your peace. You don't need to justify it. You just need to claim it. And hear this again, loud and clear. Just because someone is family doesn't mean they're healthy for your spirit. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is disappoint the expectations that were never healthy to begin with. That's not betrayal. That's self-respect. As you enter this season of life, you are no longer required to be the fixer, the referee, or the emotional support system for everyone else. You're here to finally live, fully and freely. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries. You don't owe anyone your peace. If someone truly loves you, they will respect your limits, not resent them. Because real love doesn't control. It creates space. It honors. It protects. And if you ever need a reminder, here it is. Saying no to them is saying yes to yourself. And that's a trade worth making. Every single time. Now that we've called out the guilt trippers, let's move on to another type of person you need to guard your peace from. The constant complainers, the energy vampires, the ones who drain your soul drop by drop. Let's talk about them in the next part. What if the people who raised you are now the ones holding you hostage through emotional guilt? What if the smiles you see today are just masks hiding silent manipulation? And what if, in your golden years, the greatest gift you can give yourself is distance? As time passes and we grow older, something profound begins to unfold within us, something subtle, yet transformative. We no longer crave applause or approval. We no longer chase noise or attention. Instead, we long for something quieter, deeper, and infinitely more valuable: peace. We start to choose calm over chaos, honesty over obligation, clarity over confusion. And with this shift comes a painful but liberating truth. The people who once felt essential to our lives may no longer be good for our spirit. That's a difficult realization, especially when those people are family. But it must be said, just because someone has been in your life for decades doesn't mean they deserve a permanent seat in your peace. Sometimes the people who knew you the longest are the ones least willing to let you grow. And as you enter your later years, you begin to see things for what they truly are. So let's talk about the first kind of person you absolutely must avoid in your older age: the guilt tripper. Guilt trippers don't always look dangerous. In fact, they rarely do. They don't yell. They don't confront. They don't demand. What they do is far more subtle and far more damaging. They sigh. They withhold. They shift the energy in a room with just a look. And suddenly you're second-guessing yourself. You're wondering if you've done something wrong, when all you did was say no. That's the trap. You say, "I'm tired." They respond with, "I guess I'll figure it out on my own." You say, "I need some space." They reply, "After everything I've done for you." You try to protect your peace, and they make you feel like a monster for doing so. It's not love. It's not care. It's manipulation. But because it often comes dressed in the language of affection, it's harder to recognize and even harder to escape. And here's the cruel irony. As we age, we become more vulnerable, not just physically, but emotionally. We crave connection. We want to feel seen and valued, and guilt trippers know this. They know how to speak in ways that sound like love, but feel like pressure. They say things like, "If you really cared, you do this for me. After everything I sacrificed, you owe me this. I wouldn't be asking if I wasn't desperate." And slowly, without realizing it, you start handing over your time, your energy, your well-being, piece by piece, until one day you wake up and realize that your golden years have become a performance, a constant balancing act of trying to please people who are never truly satisfied, a life full of guilt rather than grace, obligation rather than joy. But here's what I need you to remember. Your life is not a debt. You do not owe your peace to anyone. Not your partner, not your children, not your siblings, not even your parents, especially not if what they offer you in return is emotional manipulation. You are not alive to be drained. You are alive to live. And living doesn't mean saying yes when your body is screaming no. It doesn't mean showing up for people who never show up for you. It doesn't mean sacrificing your health, your time, or your happiness just to keep someone else from being uncomfortable. There is no love in being guilted into exhaustion. True love doesn't guilt, it gives. True love doesn't shame, it supports. True love doesn't manipulate, it honors your boundaries even when it doesn't benefit from them. You've spent your life showing up for others, being the dependable one, the strong one, the fixer, the peacemaker. But now, in this sacred chapter, it's time to show up for yourself. Not in selfishness, but in self-respect. Because guilt trippers are masterful at disguising their manipulation. They won't directly ask you to betray your needs, but they will make you feel guilty when you don't. And if you let them, they'll turn your boundaries into battlefields. That's why you must begin to notice the signs. Do you feel drained after certain conversations? Do you constantly question if you've done enough for someone? Do you find yourself explaining or justifying your every no? If so, you may be dealing with a guilt tripper. And the solution is not to fight them, but to free yourself from the game. You're not here to carry guilt. You're here to carry wisdom. And wisdom knows when to walk away. It knows that saying no is sometimes the most loving thing you can do for both of you. Because when you say no to manipulation, you say yes to truth. You say yes to clarity, to space, to breath, to a life where your value is not measured by how much of yourself you abandon. Let me tell you something plainly. You don't owe anyone access to your exhaustion. You don't owe them the parts of you that are barely holding on. You don't owe them the energy you no longer have. Especially when they use love as a bargaining chip. Especially when they reduce your presence to how much you can do for them. And if this sounds harsh to some, that's okay. Truth often sounds harsh when you've been raised to confuse loyalty with self-neglect. But here's what's even harsher. Living your final years full of silent resentment, waking up every day and dreading the phone call, feeling heavy before a visit, wondering if you're wrong for wanting space, second-guessing every moment of solitude as selfishness. That is not the life you deserve. You deserve ease. You deserve quiet mornings that aren't clouded by emotional pressure. You deserve connections that uplift you, not ones that drain you. So if someone in your life constantly makes you feel like you're not enough unless you're sacrificing yourself, take a step back. Because real love, authentic, mature, soulful love, doesn't make you earn it. It doesn't turn affection into currency. It doesn't turn connection into control. It simply loves, fully, freely, without fear. And if you're wondering, what will happen if I stop answering their guilt? Let me tell you, you will heal. You'll reclaim your voice. You'll remember your worth. You'll discover a version of yourself that doesn't live under emotional blackmail. And yes, some people may be upset. Some may call you selfish, but let them. Because they're not angry that you've changed. They're angry that their manipulation no longer works. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to protect your space. You are allowed to stop explaining your boundaries to people who were never going to respect them anyway. You've spent your life earning peace. Now it's time to claim it. Through every sleepless night, through every silent sacrifice, through every moment you bit your tongue to keep the peace, you have already paid the price. Now, peace is your inheritance. Do not trade it for guilt. And if someone truly loves you, they won't ask you to. They'll say, rest, heal, breathe. They'll say, take your time. They'll say, I see you, not just what you can do for me. Because love that demands your exhaustion isn't love, it's control. So be mindful of the guilt trippers. They won't always be loud. They'll often come with smiles and sweet words. But if your soul feels heavier after they leave, trust that. That is your spirit recognizing emotional theft. And if you ever doubt whether it's okay to say no, let this be your reminder. Saying no to them is saying yes to you. And that is a trait